He came into last night hitting 178 in the postseason so far. And I think it's also going to be really important for that Houston offense generally to keep going, because teams who out-homer this postseason are 22-1. And so it's one of those things where, Houston has obviously struggled in Game 1. And I think that's a bit of an anomaly in terms of their performance over the course of this entire postseason. And the fact that Max Fried was the guy on the mound for Atlanta, that's definitely a cause for concern, because that is their best and most talented pitcher on that team.
Mina Kimes astutely said they basically evened the series. They literally evened the series. What else did you make of the Astros taking the win last night?
I'll add to that incredible analysis. You asked about whether they have the upper hand. I'll say they have the upper pinky, maybe? I mean, it is very close. June isn't wrong. But I think Houston going forward has an advantage, not just because of the hitting, although you're right to say that the hitting bouncing back is huge. On both sides, I think the lineups are fairly comparable and fairly boom or bust. This is actually only the sixth time, Sarah, in the history of the World Series that teams have traded 4-run leads, which is remarkable. For me, it's more about the pitching. Charlie Morton, that was an incredible gutting performance, but now we're kind of assessing the wreckage. And for Atlanta, it's not good. They really needed more out of Max Fried, because after Game 3, they're going to have to go with back-to-back bullpen games. That's why I lean Houston, even though I don't lean dramatically.
Justin Tinsley, it's a 1-1 series. You make anything more of that win, or we just even Stevens?
Look, Atlanta did what they were supposed to do. They split on the road. And I want to say this about Fried. I know he gave up a lot of runs, but all 5 hits in that second inning were grounders, and only one was hard hit. So it wasn't like he was getting drilled. If I'm Atlanta, I'm looking at Game 3. This is a pivotal game. In the World Series, in the history, when it's tied 1-1, the winner of Game 3 wins nearly 70% of the time. So for Atlanta, it's about Ian Anderson, a young pitcher. He has to play well in Game 3. He's 3-0 with a 1.47 ERA. And I know this sounds trivial, but Atlanta can't let Houston score first. Teams in the postseason are 26-7 when they do that, and Houston's 6-0 when they score first.
That's a pretty big deal to me. Monica, what did you make of the Astros evening things up?
Well, I think that the Astros do have an upper hand. We keep talking about the totality of this roster, and then I think continuity is huge. They've got 4 players that include Altuve that have been together for 41 postseason wins and 69 games total. And so to me, you look at that, the continuity, the experience, and I'm a huge fan of Dusty Baker as potentially being the X factor if this thing goes wire to wire.
Gosh, Monica, I appreciate you reminding us that there's a bunch of Astros players who have played a bunch together in the postseason. I don't know if I've heard much about that storyline, but there's a couple of them who've been here before. June, tell me what the big story of this series has been so far for you.
It's the fact that Atlanta has, continued to play well despite, this season where they've had all this chaoticism. Even last night, they still fought back. Max Fried, even after struggling in that first couple of innings, he came back and pitched decently well after struggling at the beginning of the game. And so I think there's a lot of fight in this Atlanta team. I think there's a lot of interesting players. Austin Riley has been awesome this entire year. It would be great for him, for the Braves to see him play better. But I still think that this series is going to go 7 games.
You went to Cornell too, so I'm not going to ding you on chaoticism. I think the word's just chaos, but I'm not sure because you're so smart and you predicted 59 points that I'm just going to let it be for now. We'll do some research at the break. Let's move on.
Spicy Spain.
Thursday night used to be must-see TV. Friends, Seinfeld, ER. Before that, we got Family Ties, Cheers, Night Court. You guys all remember Night Court.
Of course.
You know what? Every single one of you, Blank Stares, Bull, Roz, nobody, no one. How did we get to a place where Mina Kimes is the oldest person on this panel?
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.